Welcome to Trading Lounge and the European indices for Tuesday, May 31st. US markets were closed last night. Futures markets are open, a little bit of volume and so on. So with the DAX here, for me, it appears that the European indices and the Asian indices have all had lows in much earlier than the S&P 500. Well, when we talk about the US markets, and then we need to break them up into the tech stocks that were pumped up in COVID and then dumped after COVID. They're the ones that have been extreme to the highs and extreme to the lows. The low volatility stocks in the S&P 500, the Berkshire Hathaways and so on, they've had a much more stable relationship in the markets. So we can have a look at that on the indices here. Just give me a second. I mean, it's just worth sort of looking at and understanding. So this is a daily chart here for the IVE iShares thing. So the low volatility stocks from the COVID situation from down here, I mean, they've pushed up, but I mean, they haven't pulled down like the NASDAQ has pulled down 50% way down here, so those low volatility stocks are up here, and it, there's good reason that you could consider this an ABC pattern here, finished and continue to the upside. But we need to gather more information on this, of course, but that's a real possibility that those lows are in. So I think the European markets have already had their lows in with the Asian markets and with the low volatility stocks pretty much as well. So yeah, I mean, there's a good case for looking at wave one with an ABC for wave two here, then a wave one and two, and then building higher. But I won't know that until we finish this 5-wave structure here. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So this can also be an A and a B and a C wave here, and then come down here. So this could be a larger B wave over here, for instance, and then we come further down. So you'd need to look at our US STOXX bearish count to understand that. But either way, it doesn't really matter at this point in time. What we've got here is we've got a situation where we're getting 5 waves to the upside. Once we get to the top there, we won't know if we're going to have a smaller correction then continue to the upside, or we're going to have a bear market. So I mean, we all have opinions and they're fantastic, but we need to be scientific about this. We need to look for the facts, we need to look for the evidence, we need to build a case, and so on. So there will be a blind spot once we reach the top here in this space, and we just need to chill, and the money that we've made in this trend here, we'll just just chill and just wait. And if we get a classic trading levels pattern sitting on the 15,000, well then by all means we'll be looking to go long at that point. So if we'll end up going long over here if that's the 15,000, but we've got all this to go through. Well, the top here will be the top of wave 5, so we'll have this situation, so we can go long above wave B here, or we can build in earlier through here, or if we can see a reason for being bearish, then we'll start to build in small positions. Either way, so there's work to be done. Once that top's in place, it'll be a guessing game situation, but we need to understand that there will be a blind spot there, and we'll need to take it step by step. Okay, all of that said, let's just cruise in here. We've got wave 1 and 2. That's probably pretty obvious to everybody, and then we can also see here we've got a little 1 and 2 in here as well, and this will be the 3rd wave in here. So we still need a 4th and a 5th to finish off this 3rd wave over here for that. But within this whole trend from this low to this high over here of 5 waves, we could say that we're pretty close to being halfway through here somewhere. So we could just grab all of that there and flip it on its head over to here, and that will give you a good visual of where we need to be on this side over here, for that to finish off. Apart from that, let's go to the intraday and investigate that trend here a little bit more on the 2000 tick. So okay, so we're looking for 5 waves up. we've got this wave 1 and this wave 2. We've got this wave 1 and this wave 2. So from this wave 2 we're going to this one, blue 3 and blue 4, and then blue 5 up there. So now you're starting to get a bit of an idea of where we are with all of this, so we can just bring that in. That will be wave 3 and 4. The S&P 500 will be the same. All the markets around the place will be pretty much the same. We don't know if it's going to be wave C here, or we can just copy this here, and also, well, we could look at wave 1 on the other side. So, but I'll put wave 1 here as well. We can just lift the degree of structure up on the other one, not a biggie. Just to give us an idea though. So we won't know what this top is, but in the meantime, we know what's going on and we're making money, so we'll just stay with that. As I mentioned, between this low here and the 5 waves up here, I reckon we're about halfway, just over halfway now in all of this, because with trends, there's always there's a beginning, there's a middle, and then there's the end. So that's sort of where we are. So breaking this down from wave 2 to wave 3 here, I think that we've got a nice 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here now for this third wave, and this fourth wave needs to come in. It looks like it wants to crank up higher, so maybe I haven't counted this correctly in here. Not a big deal. You may have taken some money off the table here. You can buy the dips, but I think it's this one here, this blue one, will buy the dip on at this point. We can look to bring the trade to break even, and we've got higher ground to go yet. So you may not have taken money off the table here. I don't have money in this market. I'm in this trend, but I'm in Australia, and I'm not taking any money off the table just yet for my trade. Yeah, so that's it in a bit of a nutshell. And the stock 50 will be the same if we can just flick straight through to the 100 tick. So we've got wave 1 here and 2 here. Just open that up a little bit, bring this down here a little bit, clean it up a little bit. So we've got wave 1 and 2. I'm thinking 1 here and A. I've got 3 waves here, B and a C wave here for that, for wave 2. We might need to rejig that, but reconfigure it. But otherwise we've got 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, fifth wave. Now in the US markets, we've got this wave, blue wave 3 already in. So I've made an error somewhere. I just haven't had time to examine that situation, but it doesn't really matter, because whichever way you want to look at this is that we've been in a series of 1s and 2s, right? Now we're going into a series of 4s and 5s in this place. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of it really. Yeah, what you see here is not what you get next. The correction should be pretty shallow in terms of their corrections. We've had our sharp wave 1s and 2s, and so now we'll get more sideways, patterns within all of this. So yeah, we're not going to get this again over here. We may get a push up here further. Let me just clean this up a little bit here. Let's just clean that up. So from here, we'll just use that to the 9. Yeah, so I'm thinking we should get a pullback here, but I should really pull that apart again and have a look. But if we do get another move here, the length of this here will be the same length over here. It'll be something like this, And we'll look to add back into this this space over here for this. We'll end up making that a bit bigger, but we'll buy back into this one to catch that last trend up. But this blue wave 5 here will be roughly the same length as this here. So it's kind of worthwhile. And then we'll take the money off the table at this wave 3 here, because we don't want to go through this wave 4 here, it'll be too big. And then we'll buy back into this wave 4 over here as well, and we'll trade that last move up at that point. Anyway, we'll get there when we get there. So yeah, so we're going to exit really at this wave 3 up here. So I'll just grab that there and put that there, and I'll need to rejig things around here a little bit, but just to give you an idea, it's that number there that we're looking for to take this off, and we'll add to the position here. So we'll be looking at that tomorrow, and so on. And the FTSE, we're kind of fitting it in. I fitted this into the I've been a little bit more conservative with this. I've fitted this into the S&P 500 count by having blue wave 3 here. It's not that this market's really been working with the rest of the market. It's kind of in the bigger picture. It's got its own sort of patterns, and we should just also have a look at the. Bear with me here while I find the FTSE 250. So it's got kind of a nice pattern here. We've got the A wave, the B wave up here, and the C wave here, and looking at 1 and 2 here, and then we'll look up for wave 3 here. Now the thing here is that we could just come up here into this space here and then have another move down and look at all of this as an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave. We don't know that yet, but in the meantime, we'll just keep an eye on this trend here, and it's not that we really trade it, but we'll see how it looks at this at some stage. But anyway, it's just kind of nice to see something in this space. The other important thing here too, by the way, is that I mean, obviously this market's not traveling very well here. I mean, it traveled nicely here, didn't it? But now it's basically stalled and waiting. So it will push a bit higher. And we'll just keep the stop out of the way for the moment. And when that blue wave, we've either got blue wave 4 here or we've got green wave 4 here. So it doesn't matter at this point in time. But once that comes in and secures that there and then moves off, then we can move the stop up to that point. But it's not traveling very nicely at this, so you'd be better off in one of the other markets at this point. Something else to sort of mull over here, the low here on the 13th over here is when the US dollar index turned, and that will be the same for the DAX and so on. So we've got what, the 12th, 13th of May here. So that top there in the US dollar is the low here in the turning point for the FTSE and the DAX and yada 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 to a point. So it's kind of important where this US dollar goes, but obviously you don't need to look at the US dollar so much. We just look at the euro US dollar. This is just the index here. And I've got this counted in 2 different ways, this here. So I'm kind of liking it as wave 1 and 2 here, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for the 3rd wave, the 4th wave and the 5th wave. Because when you're working with large numbers like this one here, the market likes to be pulled down to it. So the number 1 here, the 10-100 here, will be a strong number. We'll probably end up having 5 waves close to that. So if we're going to get a bounce, we're going to get it from here. But in the bigger picture for this market, which is kind of good to understand because of the Euro indices, is that an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here for wave 4, and then a push up at that point. So this is going to be very significant for the DAX and the rest of them at this point. So this is just the euro here in return from that. So the only difference here is that I've got 1 and 2 here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 3rd, 4th and 5th. So I've got the A wave sitting there, but I'm just going to move these out of the way because I'm thinking that this top here could just be the 3rd wave, like I've got it in the US dollar index, and then having this sitting over here. So another high in this move here. So I'll work on that a bit more, but I'll just see what the US dollar index does first. All this is important because it helps us with the indices in this case, because as I mentioned, they've all turned on the same date down here in early May. So the tops will be important, and the whole process will be important. But once again, here for the euro, in a nutshell, we're just really looking for the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave here. We're not interested in trading any of this up here. Once the B wave shows itself, then we'll trade the C wave up here. That's what we'll do, and then we'll work the next leg to the downside. So we're going to trade this one and this one. We're not going to get involved in it here or here for this. Alrighty, I'll leave it all at that. Thanks for tuning in, much appreciated. Cheers.